I'm Josh Liston from On the Bubble podcast, an oral history of television fandom, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 435 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast / show. I'm not sure there were a podcast or a show anymore, so I use both terms interchangeably. This is recorded live on Sunday, February 7th, 2021. I am Chris. Joining me today, my typical band of misfits, my good friends. We'll start first, Mr. Anthony Bachman.
It's Sunday, and you know what that means.
I've got my tribute shirt upstairs, saving it for
Brody
Wednesday.
Lee time, motherfuckers.
Man, they kill me because every week on Dynamite now, they're like, it's Wednesday night. You know what that means.
Yeah,
Every time
I love that Shivani's doing that. The other thing is, did you listen to this week's AEW
Unrestricted?
Unrestricted?
No,
Yeah.
because I don't want to devolve into a sobbing mess.
Yeah, it might bring you to a tear, but like it was very, very cool. Like 'cause she got to like break down everything, and along with the awful shit about what happened to her husband, she got to tell the story of the awesome like nurses and doctors that helped them out. How AEW like went above and beyond with their family behind the scenes, even shit we didn't see on the show, and have just been utterly fantastic. And she made a very big point to say, like, people on Twitter are going like, oh my God, they're like using this family and this kid to make ratings. She's like, they're letting a fucking 8-year-old run wild and live his dreams after having just lost his dad. And so like, it's awesome what like she was able to explain on the podcast.
Right. I read the recap of it when they put it on r/squared circle. And I read that recap and I went, oh, there's no fucking way I'm listening to this show. Not because it would be bad or anything like that, but because I was like, reading this, my heart hurts. I can't imagine hearing her voice telling that story about what happened to her husband. I was like, no, I can't do it. But more power to those that did. It would be tough. I have enjoyed the fact, though, that her son, Brody Lee Jr., -1, as they call him, of the Dark Order, has been doing like commentary and stuff like that, like telling Excalibur to shut up. And then like there's tons of little clips going around. Like there was one clip of him on commentary with Excalibur and Taz, and there's this big fight going on, and you hear Brody Lee Jr. go, ha, I love violence, and it cuts to Taz, and he's just cracking up.
Well, I love it too. Like the other night, was it Evil Uno? He hit one of them with the papers. I was like, yes. Yeah. Yes.
It's been really cool for that family that they've been able to let Brody Lee Jr. still be involved with things and hopefully take his mind off the fact that, he lost his dad, because that's rough. But enough of that side tangent, though. We do have one other person here today, Mr. William D. Nelson.
That's me, everybody. That's me. And as you can tell, I'm coming from on location. Oh, where am I? Oh, yeah, I'm in my boom boom room. There was only one rule in the boom boom room. Ain't no shoes in the boom boom room.
I thought you were in Willy's Wonderland.
That's the only rule?
The Willy is sheathed right now. It's a little cold in here, if you get my meaning.
So it's not Willy's Wonderland?
So it's not Long Rufus.
I mean, I can make it Willy's Wonderland if that's what you're asking me to do, Chris.
I'm not asking you to do it. I just assumed you would call that room Willy's Wonderland because you're so excited about the movie.
He's loose.
Ew. That was gross, Willy.
Yes, but Willy's Wonderland does come out this coming Friday.
Have you already pre-ordered it? Or is it going to just show up in there? Or are you going to order it the day it comes out and be like, I'm watching this shit immediately?
Oh, I'm just going to buy it on Vudu. I'm 100% sure you can do that.
Show me that voodoo that you do.
The doo-doo that you do?
I knew that word was going to go, and I fucking hate
that. That was gross.
That was just for Willy.
Yeah.
I knew he'd love it.
In the boom boom room. Ain't no shoes in the boom boom room.
But apparently doo-doo is allowed. That's the only rule.
Man, I just put my foot on this camera. Damn it.
Yeah, you did. You're going to be internet famous now.
Well, I mean, if people want to pay me for some foot pictures, I am always open for that.
And it's not like I didn't just clip that scene so I could make an animated GIF out of it or anything.
I mean, I'm glad you're saying it the right way, at least.
Well, it is the way it should be pronounced. However, the creator of it says it is GIF.
Can go suck a dick.
Yeah, well, the creator isn't a linguist.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't go to a birthday party and bring a birthday gift.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's just how things, work.
I don't disagree with you, man. I think I'm on the right side of history here, but what do I know?
Not much.
Ow.
Not much.
Yeah. Oh, it's because it stands for graphics. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, graphics. Gift, not graphics.
You're not wrong.
It's not peanut butter. It's not Jif.
Well,
I don't like that joke.
linguistic debates aside, welcome everyone to the show. Like we were saying, we're here on Superb Owl Sunday, as we've put it in the past. Supposedly two
welcome to
Marvel
Those
trailers.
jokes at all.
Yeah, welcome to Super Bowl Sunday. Fuck them.
Yeah,
Bring
we're-
on my cease and desist, you bitches.
No, you're allowed to say things like to say that it's Super Bowl Sunday, things like that. That's
the
fair
idea that people
use,
went
but-
so bad where you can't even say it is just so ridiculous.
I just like saying Superb Owl because it makes me
Yeah.
smile and think of when Naki started calling it that on the show. I'll be honest. It's a
No,
nostalgia
that
thing
part
for
was
me.
fun.
I
Supposedly,
thought it was a,
sorry,
I thought
go
it was a
ahead.
superior red-tailed hawk.
No, that's what killed the dinosaurs.
Is that an
I
Animorphs
thought,
reference?
I thought the dinosaurs died because everyone get on the floor. Everyone kill the dinosaurs. Parody. You can't say no.
All right. So, just a quick side note for those
I
that may be
changed one
watching the game tonight. Supposedly, there are 2 Marvel trailers. What they are, I don't know. I'm assuming Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow, but I don't know. Could be Spider-Man.
Yes, I could use
That's true.
another fucking Black Widow trailer. Whoop-de-dee-doo. Just fucking release the goddamn thing. I don't care at this point. I know I want to see Hopper in there. I don't know if I really care about the rest of the story from what I've seen of it. I don't spy shit. I just don't care about spy shit. That's about it.
I didn't realize until like just this week in regards to WandaVision, the writer of WandaVision also was one of the writers on Black Widow. So now I'm really intrigued because I've been enjoying the mind F that is WandaVision, which we'll get to later in the show. That's kind of a tease there.
It wasn't really a true mind F to the very last thing we just saw.
This show is all built upon screwing with all of your expectations, and I love it. But did you guys see, real quick before we get into the news, there was the meme that all started like last week where someone had said, hey, I would love to see Jimmy Woo do like an X-Files set in the MCU. And the tweet went viral. Like, people were all excited about it. I guess that same person tweeted, it was either Friday or yesterday on Saturday as we record this, that, hey, I have an offer to go pitch this to Marvel right now.
Oh, shit.
So, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but to the effect that he's writing up a treatment because he's gotten an offer to go pitch to Marvel a Jimmy Woo doing X-Files in the Marvel Universe. And I know there's a lot of folks that are listening to this like, well, isn't that basically Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Sort of. But this isn't necessarily tied in with like
not
S.H.I.E.L.D.
really.
or SWORD or anything like that.
He's with the CIA, right? He's not
He's
with
FBI.
No, he's
He's
FBI.
not special forces or anything. He's just FBI.
Yeah, he's just FBI.
Yes. And it's kind of like the similar idea to what people were thinking they were going to do with the. Weren't they thinking they were going to do a damage control show? Was that
That's
the right
been rumored also that there's going to be a damage control show.
Well,
there's a
for
bunch
how
of,
many
Yeah.
years?
For a while.
there's a bunch of rumors going around. Who knows anymore? I think it would be fun, and how cool would it be if that guy actually gets the gig for basically going viral on Twitter saying, hey, this would be really cool if we could do this. And someone at Marvel's like, okay, that would be pretty cool. Let's see what they got an idea of, and then decides
Didn't
to
you
greenlight
also?
it.
I
Did
mean,
you know
stuff like
something?
that does happen. It's, crazier things have happened. It would be cool.
I didn't catch it the first time, but I like it when he did the trick that
Scott's card
Scott
trick.
Lang taught him. Look,
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. I've been having fun with it. The show is really good. We're going to talk about it when we get into the news of the week here in a little bit.
something all right, baby.
Close-up magic.
Before we get into the news of the week, though, what's the good word, folks? We took a week off. Anything exciting happen? What we
I
had that
mean,
week off?
I was here and ready, but no one else was. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put you under the bus like that.
That's
I'll
okay.
put
It's
myself
my
under the
fault.
bus.
I'll take the
I'll
fall.
back up too. All right. You know what? I got a story to tell.
A story?
No,
Story time with
I could have
Willie.
saved this for what I'm into, but I mean, it's kind of been fun. Some people I've played Among Us with, we started this trading card game on Discord. And I'm actually using Discord now because of it. It's pretty much, I don't know what to call it. I don't think Mude is what they really, is like the term. I don't know. Someone's doing the Patreon to pay for it, so that's all I know. Pretty much, it's a bunch of collectible card game. You can pull 18 cards in an hour, and then you get to pick one of those cards. Or actually, you get to pick from anyone else's rolls, too, anytime anyone else pulls cards. And these cards, they're very anime heavy, I'm not going to lie. It is. They definitely call it the waifu trading card game. But there's also Western stuff in there as well. It's mostly games and anime manga, pretty much. Those are the three things. There's no live action. They have awesome powers in there, but all the images they have of the House Powers is from like a Game Boy Color game.
That's fantastic.
So I'm
Nice.
like, okay. And then they all have like a gem. I think they call it Kakara. They all have a gem, pretty much number attached to them, and that's how much the card's worth within the game. If you get a card, you can divorce it, and pretty much you get that much currency for it, as much as it's worth. And I'm a little sad because Ash Williams is in the game, or is in there, but he's very low ranked. I'm like, they really take precedence over anime. Really take evidence. Yeah, anime is always high up there. And then all the fucking Western shit. Like, Ash was the fucking main character of 3 movies and 3 seasons of TV show. He's had how many games? Like 3 or 4? I mean, counting his appearance at Dead by Daylight. I do know there's at least 2 back on the PS2 and Xbox days. I think there was at least 2. I don't know if there's another one. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think there was like a PS1 game too that was terrible. It's neither here nor there. Yeah, but Ash Williams, my boy, Ash Williams is so low. He's only worth like 45 or 48 when they can range from like the 30s. I've never seen one below 30 all the way up to like 1,000 something. You very rarely see anything over 200. Those are like the rare. Those are always like rare and super rare. But yeah, it's been fun as hell. I mean, not gonna lie, some of these waifus. I'm just gonna stop there.
Willie, is there a lot of tentacles? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Oh no! There's actually
His favorite.
So there is no hentai. Well, no, there is. I forgot about that. They don't show anything. None of the cards show anything like that. They like always cut away or something. You can tell when something like has new because it's always like zoomed in because they usually don't shy away from like Oh, for you audio listeners, I popped my chest out.
It was certainly an interesting experience.
But they're actually because you can search for like all because I don't even know how many cards there are. There's a lot. But yeah, some of them actually because you can look up like the different series and stuff and see how many cards are in there and what they are. Of course, there's a porn star one.
Nice.
And I only recognize 2 of the names. One of them I didn't even know what did porn. Bella Delphine, is that how you pronounce her name? The bathwater bitch. The bathwater bitch. That's what we'll call her. But yeah, was she? So does anyone? I know she was a streamer, and when she did the whole bathwater thing, right?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
Did she do porn before or after that?
Beats me, man. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know much about her.
But I knew Sarah J's was in there. That's all I know.
So how many people do you have playing this card game? Or how does it work? Do you like battle with
I don't know.
these
I haven't
cards,
actually counted.
or...
I mean, I could start going out probably less than 20. I can say that.
So you get these cards of some kind, and you've got digital copies of them or whatever. How do you actually play the game with people? Is it just like a channel in that Discord?
Well, I guess it's not really a game. It's not really a trading card game. I shouldn't have said it. It's just trading cards, I guess.
Okay.
Although they are setting it up so they could battle. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't even think they fully knew. I just think they just saw that it could be done. I'm sure it's just like, hey, put your one number against the other number, maybe, and whichever one's higher wins. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there are different like softwares and stuff out there to play like board games and stuff online, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life because we're going back years upon years ago when Ryan guested on the show and told us about how to play X-Wing online. You had to have your own physical cards because it didn't have like the text for it, but there was literally a software that then allowed you to load the X-Wing miniature game, and you could play back and forth online, moving pieces around, and just have a microphone so that you could play this board game that you really have to play in person over the web. And I cannot remember the name of the software to save my life. It was pretty cool though. I played around with it for a little bit, and my local comic book store used to have a X-Wing the miniature game league night, and then they eventually shifted to doing a lot of it online using this software, and I just can't remember it.
Oh, I do also want to state like the amount of currency they're worth, kind of like their value, I guess, is determined by how many people. Well, I guess they do call that where you marry them. I guess is what they're called. Like I guess is when you take it in. Yeah, I think that changes. That can go up and down depending on how many people claim it. How many people? You can also just like a card. You have to do that a couple times just to get a wish list. We're not even going into that. But yeah, so that can go up if how many people marry it and like it.
Interesting. Sounds like you're having fun with it. That's pretty cool. How'd you find out about it?
It has brought some drama. Pretty much, we were originally started on a different server for it, and then of course drama happened. So we went to the other. So someone else made another server, and they started paying for it because I think it's like $10 a month to have that running. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I got pulled in. There's just the people I played Among Us with on the PlayStation.
Okay. That's
not
cool.
on the PlayStation, just through the party chat.
Yeah, through party chat on PlayStation. I'm tracking what you're saying.
You are, because I'm glad one of us is. I'm terrible at explaining stuff.
I got you, man. I got you.
Hey, there ain't no there is no explanations in the boom boom room, my friend.
Oh God!
I forgot we were there for a minute.
I'd hope we'd left.
For those on audio, Willie is hopping up and down.
Well, I mean, is that sound coming through?
A little bit.
Good. I was trying to exaggerate it,
No, you really need to stop with the hip motions there. Please. None of us need that.
I'm like Duff Man. You can't stop thrusting.
Oh, yeah.
I am thrusting in the direction of the problem.
Duff Man.
I mean, that is a line he's saying. Like, I am thrusting in the direction of whatever. I just love that. That was my favorite thing they ever did.
Oh, man. I miss when I enjoyed
this. Doesn't surprise me.
Hey, let me push this swing right quick.
That was something I could have gone without hearing.
Oh, I also have what's his nuts from Green Lantern, Kilowog.
Oh, I was going to say Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, he's like gigantic. It's one of those movie theater big posters they roll out.
Yep, Willie keeps a 6 foot tall Ryan Reynolds cut out in his boom boom room.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds is in the living room, just rolled up.
Wouldn't you?
Kilowog though. Why would you not?
Wouldn't you?
I wake up to Kilowog every morning.
Yeah, I do too. I look in the mirror.
I mean, I can move the camera if you guys want to see it right quick.
I'm afraid of what else we might see, so please don't move the camera.
And Chris, I'm going to retweet it. Inspired by Stephen Sean Ford, which I guess is the person that talked about doing the Special Agent Jimmy Woo. Boss Logic's already done a poster for it.
Of course he has. Boss Logic has a meeting coming up with Kevin Feige, he said on Twitter too. So
yeah, it's literally the Sword Chronicles, and it's him holding up a pair of cards, and one of them is Special Agent Jimmy Woo.
Okay, that's pretty simple.
I mean, it seems like from what we've seen, S.H.I.E.L.D. needs new management.
S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist?
I mean, sorry, not S.H.I.E.L.D., I mean Sword. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, Nick Fury is in Sword, we can assume, but we'll touch on that.
Space.
That's true. We'll touch on that later. There's some interesting conversation we can have.
I do have a question before we do anything.
All right.
Bachman, who's Stephen Lang? Is that the dude who was championed to be Cable, and who was also an Avatar?
Yeah.
And whatever that dinosaur show was, I forget what it's called. That was pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's the actor Stephen Lang.
Yeah, Stephen Lang. Okay, yeah. I got a movie, and I remember seeing his name. I couldn't remember who's Stephen Lang, and it just clicked in me as I was asking the question. Damn it, I'm stupid.
Yeah, he'd have been a good Cable, but you can't really argue against Josh Brolin either.
I don't know. Yeah. I think this dude looked the fucking part. I want to see him do it.
Yeah, Brolin was good, but since he was already Thanos, they really should have gone with Stephen Lang just because, I mean, if you look at him in Avatar, that's Cable on on an alien
yeah.
planet fighting a war. Like, that's what fucking Cable should have looked like. Just
Oh,
like,
he was Cable.
for the older, grizzled version of Cable.
Mm.
Brolin was basically just the younger version of Cable.
Is there another version of Cable I don't remember seeing?
There's a young
Has he
Cable
ever not
now in
had
the comics.
pure white hair?
Yeah, Cable's a time traveler, so like he's popped up in all different versions.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
did he
he's-
become younger when he time traveled?
There's a young Cable in the comics right now.
Yeah,
Old
in the
Cable's not
comics
in
right now,
comics.
he's a young. He's
I
a
mean,
young
I'm not
kid.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. If you haven't seen the movie Don't Breathe, go
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that. It is fantastic. It's a
Made me hate
tension
him.
film where he is a violent, blind veteran that is keeping a secret in his house and gets robbed, and he's trying to murder the kids that are trying to rob him as they're trying to sneak around his house without making any noise.
Really, no
And-
spoilers? It's been out for how long? I'm just kidding. Don't spoil that.
No spoilers, but yeah, it's a great film.
You're a great film.
Oh, that was a nice thing you said right there, Willie. Thank you.
Love you, Bachman.
Thank you.
His IMDb also lists him as Miles Quaritch in Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Wait,
Didn't he die in the first one? Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, you know what? I am the one person who's never seen Avatar.
Should I own the Super Duper Deluxe version?
I mean, I wouldn't mind, but I kind of just want to get the 3D Blu-ray version so I can see it how it's meant to be watched.
That's the one I have.
Do you have a
it was
3D
Deluxe
TV?
has-
Chris, you have sent me Dread 3D because I have PlayStation VR,
Oh, that's right. You can watch it in VR.
and I
Never
appreciate
mind.
that a lot. That was amazing.
I forgot about the fact you could use PSVR to do it because it's a legitimate question because 3D was a huge thing. But when's the last time you saw 3D capable on a TV that came out?
And
Yeah.
just saying,
They
the
stopped
first
that
movie I
shit
saw
long
with
ago.
that was terrible. It was Civil War, and I'm not saying the movie was terrible. I'm saying the 3D effects was terrible. I
Yes.
could barely tell a lot of times it's 3D. I thought that was just how it looked in the PlayStation VR. I was like, oh, this is useless. This is terrible. Why'd I wait on this? And then I put in Dread 3D. Thank you again, Chris,
Oh, yeah.
for being my benefactor in my endeavors.
And you
And,
can't spell Dread without 3D.
Oh my! Was that a tagline? If not, it should have been. Okay, because that's fucking
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
it.
they
so
use that.
much.
Yeah, none of us are that creative, Willie. Come on.
I mean, who likes triple D's more than Willie? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Dread 3D. Yeah, that 3D was good. It was popping and stuff. That is just the post conversion for Civil War sucked ass.
That was the
That was
problem.
not America's ass.
That was
Not
the
at
problem
all.
with most 3D movies is that they weren't
Yeah.
filmed with 3D in mind. They just wanted to cash in on the extra money, so they did some stuff in post that never really was that great. Like Avatar was a great example of a 3D movie because they designed
Yeah.
it to be in 3D. They did
and,
things in what they filmed to purposely make you go, "Holy crap! I can't believe that's happening."
Yeah,
Let-
they had to
let me-
create depth
let
of
me
field
ask, like,
while they were filming.
Let me act like a terrible girlfriend and stir up some old shit. Hey, Team Cap is always number one.
Yeah, always Team Cap.
Yeah, look at this loser down here. Look, you little fucking bald shithead.
Tony was right.
About what?
Pretty much everything.
But did he do the right thing to try to prevent it?
Nope, he tore apart the Avengers.
He
It
tried to
doesn't
build
matter
a
about
suit of
being
armor
right.
around the world
It's
to
about
stop
having
Thanos.
the right answer.
Pretty sure he
Sounds
was
like
proven-
a cold fucking world.
Yeah, well, pretty sure he was proven he would have been right in Endgame when he shoved the fucking arc reactor in Cap's hand and told him to go do it now.
Wait, what? The what? Arc reactor? Wait, what?
They in the beginning of Endgame, basically they have their face off where Tony says
Yeah.
something to the effect of, I wanted to build a suit of armor around the world. And Cap's like, well, we would have done it together. He goes, well, you ended that, or I can't remember the exact lines, but basically saying,
what
hey,
the-
you broke up the Avengers. And he go basically to the effect of, I already lost, and hands him the arc reactor and then collapses because he wasn't going to do it anymore.
Yeah, there was no fight.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a.
It was a verbal argument. No, Tony was right. We'll find out more about that in this current phase, I think. Tony was right.
Tony was definitely not right. Tony
I
was
mean,
a rich
no,
asshole
once
with a
again,
guilt complex.
No, Tony was right. He just didn't do the right things to stop from what he wanted to prevent. Pretty much, he was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
For
he
the
created
right
he
reason.
created the energy source that caused the invasion of New York City. He created the villain
I'll beat that
Ultron.
one.
How was that his fault, other than the fact he
that was
made it and
not
they
his
used
fault.
it?
I wouldn't even jump on that one.
Yeah.
I
all
created
the
this thing to
villains
do
of the
something
Avengers
else.
movies
Oh, I'm
are
gonna
all
use it
Tony
to
Stark
kill people.
created. He created fucking Wanda and Quicksilver.
No, he
because his
didn't.
bombs blew up their
No,
building.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, he
the
did.
scepter.
The scepter gave them their powers. Their hatred of Tony Stark allowed them to live through the
So
experiment.
it's Tony's fault that someone used his weapons. So by that meaning, it would be, it's my fault if Willie hit someone with a brick that I owned.
No.
Yes.
Here's what it is. So we're gonna go arrest Smith and Wesson right now.
A brick that you
Mr. Smith and Wesson
sold-
himself.
Yes, a brick that you sold to cause war. Yes. He's an ironmonger. It's all the
We're going
ironmonger's
to war,
fault.
Chris.
I don't think so. I'm pretty lazy.
It's a battle of the bastards. It'd be battle of the balds.
Battle of the Balls.
No, it would still be the Battle of the Bastards because we're both bastards.
When these scalps collide,
Battle of the Bears.
sparks will fly. Hey, I remember a toy I had as a kid, a dangerous toy. It was one of the He-Man toys when you had a little flint rock in it, like a lighter.
Yeah.
It's like, this should be for kids.
Some of those He-Man toys, I'm not sure how they got to make them because
The
you look at
80s,
them in
man,
today and
was
you're like,
Because it was
Wild.
the 80s, yeah.
fair point.
Hey,
Come
let's
on,
give
they
them
had a
some
guy named
partial
Fisto.
fire.
Come on.
Yeah,
He fisted it as hard as he could, man.
Yep, he fisted as hard as he could,
right,
man.
he fisted his way right to my heart.
That's a long
From the
way to go,
wrong
Willie.
end. From the wrong end.
That was a three knuckler, as they say. Fuck Wayne. There's three knuckles on a finger.
That's true.
Just because you can't, knuckle is not defined, but if you can punch with it. That is not the definition of a knuckle.
All right, let's roll on into the news.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
It's that part of the show where we roll into the news of the week, where we share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into, and then kind of geek out about them collectively here. And I know that both Bachman and Willie want to talk about WandaVision, so we'll save that for the end. That way, if you're someone
WandaVision.
I mean, you're not wrong. That way, if you're not caught up, you don't have to get spoiled. That's why I was setting it up that way, because we don't want people to get spoiled. So I'll go with my news story first. And if you've been watching this show for any period of time and you saw the game announcement that came out within the last week, you probably know what news story I'm going to talk about here.
What?
I know, it's shocking. You wouldn't think that I would take this story. What's wrong, Willie? You okay there? You gave me the side eye as I
Of
said
course,
this.
that's your fucking news. How did I not fucking see this? I even sent you something about it.
Yeah, I know.
I know you probably already saw it, but I mean, I did send it to
Yes. So for those that are not aware and are watching this show, or maybe you're a first-time viewer / listener, I am a huge fan of the Mass Effect franchise. Huge. It's one of my favorite game series of all
you.
time.
Huge.
I've played through Mass Effect 2 and 3 multiple times each. I've probably sunk hundreds of hours into those games. I think I've only done Mass Effect 1 twice because it's kind of clunky. Well, what happened this week is it'd been teased, it'd been leaked. EA officially announced that the Mass Effect Legendary Edition will be released on May 14th. This is a one-disc collection that puts all 3 of the original games on it. All of
They're
the
not
DLC.
releasing it on November 7th?
No, they are not. Not on N7.
All 3
Day.
games are on one disc.
All 3 games on one disc. It is going to have all of the DLC except one DLC pack because the code got corrupted and they can't recover it. So one of the DLCs from the original Mass Effect will not be on the Legendary Edition. And they will have done 4K enhancements, all sorts of cleaning up. They will have fixed more of the bugs. And they will have taken the gratuitous ass shots of Miranda Lawson out of the game. That is one of the things they said they
Now
did.
you're making me not want to buy it.
Wait. There is going to be plentiful ass shots of Fem Shep.
Yes. So
If you choose that.
if you choose that. So there is a bunch of stuff that's coming to that. I'm a huge fan of the Mass Effect franchise. I've played through it a bunch of times. I plan on buying it again in this case because it'll all be upscaled. It'll all be on one disc. I don't have to worry about trying to recover save files. Now, they haven't answered yet whether I can import my save files from the existing Mass Effect games. I kind of hope I can, but I doubt it'll be the case. And Willie's giving me a creepy look.
Yeah, this man is such a fanboy of the series that he even defends Andromeda.
No, I haven't defended Andromeda.
I'm kidding. It was just for the joke.
Okay. I was going to
That
say,
was funny, wasn't
Andromeda is a flawed game, and I'm glad you bring that up because
never even played it.
I love Mass Effect. I love a lot of BioWare to a certain point where I feel that they lost their way, which started with Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't trust either company anymore, but I'm still strangely excited for this. Maybe it's because there's a part of me that goes, hey, all they're doing is cleaning up and fixing things. It's not like they can go in there and break it all over again or something like that. So I'm excited, even though if it was a new game announcement, I'd be sitting there going, I don't know if I trust these guys anymore. What was that, Willie?
I thought they were redoing some things because that's what from that video that looked all new. It
yes,
it looked like they cleaned it up.
So yes,
that's more just cleanup.
It is a remastered edition. I'm going through an article they have on Game Informer here.
That's new assets, my man.
Yeah. So here's some of the stuff they said. The game will come with an all-new launcher so that the entire collection, including all DLC, can be enjoyed. It'll be remastered for 4K UHD. Includes things such as enhanced models, shaders, and FX. They've showed off a bunch of the video effects and video online, and a bunch of fans then took the new footage and put it side by side with old footage out of the game so you can see tweaks and enhancements that were done. Basically, they kind of went through and redid all the character models, cleaned them up, upscaled everything to 4K. They did not go and put it on a new graphics engine, anything like that, but it does arguably look really good. It is not, however, optimized for PS5 or Xbox Series S/X. It's coming out for PS4 and Xbox One and is forward compatible to those systems. So it's not like they made it only exclusive with exclusive things that work only on the current gen consoles.
You might have said, and I missed it. Did you say anything about FPS?
It will be 60 frames per second on PS4 and Xbox One, and I believe they said unlocked FPS on PC, Series S/X, and PS5.
Yes, because I need 1,000 FPS.
Well, I mean,
to play the game.
But remember, some of the things they're touting with the current gen of consoles is playing games in 120 FPS. Now, I'm not saying this is going to go to that, but they're making it higher than 60 frames per second potentially because it's unlocked. They say that other improvements in this for the graphics say, quote, improved depth of field, dynamic shadow improvements, unified motion blur solution, and lens flare upgrades. So it's like J.J. Abrams has a hand in it. Now,
the J.J. Abrams edition of Mass Effect. Now I got to buy it.
So what's arguably the most interesting thing is if you've played through the trilogy, you know Mass Effect 1 has a very different look and feel compared to Mass Effect 2 and 3. It plays much more like a traditional RPG that has tacked on shooter elements. They did say they have made a bunch of improvements to Mass Effect 1 to try and bring it in line with the rest of the series. Some of the things they mentioned in here is they fixed the control scheme for the Mako, so you're not randomly getting stuck or randomly jumping around the map. Other Mass Effect 1 specific improvements they're quoted in this article based off an interview with Mac Walters of BioWare is improved cover for combat, improved input and controls, AI enhancements, weapons overall rebalanced, and they removed the class restrictions, meaning if you played as a Vanguard, you could use a sniper rifle now if you wanted, much like you could in Mass Effect 2 and 3. Better camera angles, improved sound design in and out of combat, and a complete world-building pass across all worlds, including lighting, visual effects, and audio. Basically, they tried to clean things up. Mass Effect 1 was not very polished. There were some weird bugs in it. And if you wanted to play certain classes, it locked you out of certain weapons, which they didn't do later on. So a lot of that has been undone and fixed.
I can't pick up this gun and squeeze a trigger. I don't know how to do that on this weapon. Right. I'm not that specialist.
And that's part of the reason why some people played as the soldier, because they could use every freaking gun in there. It's part of the reason why I played as a Vanguard originally, because I wanted biotic charge and a shotgun. Now you're not really limited in that regard, much like you weren't limited in the follow-on games.
Yeah, I've never understood the idea that if you're a certain classification, you couldn't use a weapon. That hasn't made sense to me since the D&D days.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And that's probably part of the reason why they removed that restriction with the follow-on games. Like I mentioned to Willie, performance boosts, you'll have 60 frames per second on PS4, Xbox One, uncapped FPS on PC and current-gen consoles right now. They added in full resolution audio, rebalanced the Dolby surround track, things like that. And they said PC players also look forward to controller support for the first time on Mass Effect 1, because Mass Effect 1 was only mouse and keyboard. So you will be able to have controllers. They went in there and updated the character customization. So the default model we had for Fem Shep in Mass Effect 3 is effectively Canon Shep. They went and basically made it so that same Shepard could be used in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. They also went in and added a bunch of additional hairstyles and facial hair models so that if you were a person of color, you could have hair that actually makes sense for a person of color, because they didn't really have hair that worked for all races.
But Are they better than Animal Crossing? Can I make a bald character?
Yes, you can make a bald character.
I know you can. I'm just making fun of Animal Crossing because you can't make a fucking bald character.
You can't be bald in Animal Crossing?
I think you have to have like a special wig, which is
Yeah, I
even
think
fucking
so, too.
weirder.
You have to buy a wig that makes you bald? It's a bald cap.
Oh, I don't even know if they even have one. I know they have one where it gives you like a top knot.
Yeah, they do have that.
Huh. Strange.
Continuing on that, they did not add any cut content that has been talked about. Like, for instance, they cut content out of Mass Effect 1 where if you were a male Shep, you could romance Kaidan. They cut out of Mass Effect 2 the fact that that Jack was originally pansexual. They cut that content out. That's not coming back into the game. They didn't really add anything that had been removed. It was a lot of cleanups, things like that. It does have every single bit of DLC minus that one DLC pack, which was, I think it's Pinnacle Station on Mass Effect 1, which isn't really necessary for your full playthrough. And in fact, I don't even remember whether I even played it any of my times.
Wait, when there's
through
one on the Earth's moon?
that was, I can't remember.
Wasn't that what that was?
Maybe
I was
it
gonna
was,
say,
and
yeah.
I'm forgetting it. I don't know.
If it's the one DLC they're not putting in, I would really hope it's not one you need for a full playthrough.
Well, it's they can't put it in is the problem.
Well, that's
is
not- wait,
they
never
can't
mind, the moon
recover.
wasn't-
Yeah, they can't recover the code to be able to redo it. The code, the source code, can't be recovered.
The code's on the disc, isn't it?
That's
Oh,
compiled.
DLC, that's right. It's not, well, yeah. On the complete versions when they re-released it.
Yes, but even if you have that, you then would have to put it back down to its base code to then fix everything. They have no
Then
way.
do that.
That's not how it works, man. They have no way, basically,
Listen,
to recover.
there's a way.
No. There's a way they're not willing to pay to do it.
So what they
Exactly.
could have
Yeah.
done
Oh, EA.
is, in theory, is
in our
redeveloped
pocket.
it. And they said
Yeah.
if they wanted to start from the ground up and rebuild it, it would have been 6 months of being dedicated to just that individual DLC with that entire team. And that's not really cost effective. Let's be honest here, guys.
Yeah.
For
When what
a-
you're trying to do, is basically make money off a product you've already put out.
For a DLC pack that was in Mass Effect 1 that wasn't widely played by a bunch of people, I don't think 6 months worth of effort is really worth it. That's not to say that maybe they won't put it out as DLC down the pipe as a free thing, but they have not said anything about that. The article on Game Inform, which you can find in our show notes at bit.ly/ATGN, what episode is this? 435, shows all of the DLC packs that are in there, all of the weapons and armor packs, all of the promo stuff that was originally, locked into if you pre-ordered from this company or you had bought this other game from BioWare, the unlocked stuff. That's all in there. Every drop of DLC, which I thought was pretty cool.
So
So
let's see, and this comes out in May.
May
so by
14th.
Christmas, I may be able to get it on its first sale.
I'm good on this game, on these games. I don't need it.
I don't know, I've wanted to play them, and our man Chris has been talking about for so long. I've been meaning to go back and get them, but it's like, well, I kept looking at them. It's like, oh, there's this version and that version and that version. It's like, I don't really want to go buy 3 games, but now if I can buy one game and get all 3 games,
you
I
could.
think.
Mass Effect 1 never came. Actually, I think it did come
Yeah,
to
it
PS3
did. It got
in the
re-released
trilogy.
after Mass Effect 2 came
Yeah.
out.
yeah.
I actually that's the only game I ever fully completed on a 360 is Mass Effect 1.
Hmm.
This was before Mass Effect 2 came out too.
I mean, now I can buy basically one game and play a trilogy of games. All right, that's not bad.
And get all the DLC. That if you're someone like me who originally bought this on the Xbox 360, who was dropping like $15 a pop for DLCs on some of these. Yes, Willie. Why are you freaking out?
Oh yeah. And why you looking to me?
Well, all of a sudden, a game with 3 games in one is all of a sudden a new thing. You have the Uncharted trilogy collection.
Yeah, but no one's talked that up the way that Chris has talked up the N7.
I will talk about that forever. That's probably my favorite series.
the Uncharted trilogy is awesome.
It's amazing. Chris down here is saying he knows it's better than Mass Effect.
I did not say that.
For story-wise, much better.
Go fuck yourself.
I'm dead serious.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Mass Effect.
I was just throwing faux outrage there for comedic purposes.
Although I will say, Mass Effect does has the probably the better looking of the side characters. One of the people you can have on your team from the second game. What was her name? That goth chick.
Jack?
I do like. Yeah, I remember that.
I figured you'd say Miranda since it's basically Yvonne Strahovski.
Miranda. Who?
The woman that looks exactly like Yvonne Strahovski.
The
Who?
blonde
No,
from
who is
Chuck.
that?
The blonde from Chuck.
She's not
Never
blonde in
watched
the game,
Chuck,
though.
but all right.
She's the Cerberus
She's
bitch.
redhead, right?
She's brunette. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I say that because that's what Jack called her in the game, guys. Don't start sending me your hate mail.
I thought she looked
that
more
I
like
was referring.
Jane Holloway.
She looks exactly like Yvonne Strahovski because Yvonne Strahovski's who they modeled it after and who did the voice.
What do they model after her with her knowledge?
Yes, because she's the voice actor.
I mean, did you know who did Naughty Dog did that with what's her name, Elliot Page?
Yeah.
His name, sorry.
Yes.
I apologize.
No, in all seriousness, though, coming down to storyline, it's really just a matter of preference. If you're someone who likes space fantasy kind of stuff, you'll probably like Mass Effect story more than you would Uncharted story.
It's a space opera.
I mean, it effectively is. So I was mostly joking with you when I told you to go F yourself just for comedic purposes, but it's going to be a personal preference thing.
I can appreciate that.
If someone likes space-based games, they're probably going to enjoy the story in Mass Effect more. That's not to say the story on Uncharted is bad. No, it's just different, a different kind of setting. That's
And better.
in your opinion, yes.
It's a modern day Indiana Jones in contemporary time.
Well,
Just
maybe
a little
once
bit
I
smarter.
maybe once I finish Miles and Ghost of Tsushima, I'll start that one.
Yeah, just beware.
Uncharted, man.
This
You already
game,
got it.
both games, Uncharted and the Mass Effect trilogy, they'll consume many hours of your life. I think my first playthrough of Mass Effect 2 was 46 hours.
Well, I just passed 1,000 hours on Dead by Daylight, so I guess I can
you're
spend
probably
some
good.
time on some other games.
Oh, and I will tell you, Uncharted has something already over Mass Effect. It actually ended on a great note.
Oh, the shit talking.
I mean, to be fair, Mass Effect, they fucking... First of all, you had that wet fart of the original third ending that, yet even you, Chris, that third ending was just like, that's your
He's
choices.
anti-poop joke,
This
but he'll
whole-
refer to a game as a
Yeah, I
wet
didn't like
fart.
it. I even thought, like, God, I'm going to be doing this, and I hate myself for it. Trust me. That is not lost on me. Yeah. You have to admit, with a whole game is based on choices and, things you change up the story. It pretty much comes like, what color laser do I want? Let's do green. And then also, let's go back to Andromeda, which I don't know if you want to count towards the Mass Effect as a whole.
I
That's
think
up
we
to you.
almost have to, though, because when they put the trailer out for Mass Effect 4, it seemed to show silhouettes of aliens from the Andromeda Galaxy. So,
They're calling it Mass Effect 4. I love it. It's such a fucking kick in the face.
well, I don't know that it was. I can't remember if they called it Mass Effect 4 or not. I think that's what the internet
Okay,
has
I
basically
thought-
taken to calling it because it continues the story from the original trilogy. So it looked like in that trailer that they had silhouettes that looked like aliens from the Andromeda Galaxy. So a lot of people are theorizing that somehow they're connecting the Andromeda Galaxy to the Milky Way and things that have fallen out. So the real question then becomes, in order to do that, what basically becomes the canon ending of Mass Effect 3? Because I don't know how you would change the scope of Mass Effect 4 based off the ending that someone picked in Mass Effect 3.
The best decision they can make with the next game is to just forget Andromeda even happened. Just forget
But
it fucking
here's the
happened.
thing, though. Andromeda had some really good elements to it. And once they put a better polish
Gameplay
on
elements or story elements?
both.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I just wanted to get
Yeah,
specification
both.
of what you meant right there.
So the story wasn't necessarily the problem when it came out. The problem when it came out was the weird graphic issues and bugs that were there. And I would argue that had they actually, put the DLC out like was originally planned to tell the story of like the Korean arc and stuff like that, that would have been really interesting. Instead, I think they wrote a book, and I don't think anyone bought the book because everyone was like, man, the hell with this. Mass Effect 3, much like we talked about with Mass Effect 3, Andromeda, much like we talked about with Cyberpunk and other stuff like that, is they rushed it to come out the door. They all relied on the individual studios' magic, be it BioWare magic, CD Projekt Red magic, whatever it is, to make it happen. And it didn't quite happen. A year after Andromeda came out, when it had polish on it and they fixed character models and stuff like that.
They did?
Yeah. Had that
they did.
been the game that came out originally, I think we'd be talking about things a little differently.
Andromeda was the one with the face-off problem, right?
Yeah.
It looked like everybody was in the middle of having their face removed.
And also the lip syncing was also done.
And they fixed a lot of that. So that was all fixed. So the cosmetic issues that were going on were fixed. I think the hard sell with Andromeda was always you were moving away from Shepard and the characters that we all liked, and the characters they put in Andromeda were not as cool as the characters we had in the original Mass Effect trilogy. They weren't.
Okay. And this Legendary Edition, though, is just the trilogy, right? It's got none of the Andromeda crap.
It has none of the Andromeda stuff. It is only Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll definitely have to check this one out.
To fix it, and they chose not to. Remember that.
Does it surprise you?
No, it
I mean,
doesn't.
but here's the other thing to consider, though. If you're going to do a remaster, why would you remaster a game that's on the previous generation that most people still have? The remastered versions of Mass Effect are Xbox 360 games, remember.
You're saying like it hasn't happened, and it has.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure it has. Like, I'm sure something was came out on the PS3.
Yeah, it's called GTA 5. It's been on 3 different console generations.
No. I'm saying something that came out on the same generation, just updated or something.
Well, I'm sure it happens.
Sure it has happened. I can't remember any example.
But here's the thing you got to consider from a developer standpoint is they're all on 2-generation old hardware using the same engine. This is a completely new engine they used for Mass Effect Andromeda on a newer generation of consoles. It's not like equivalent work to say, hey, we're going to bundle this in with the remaster because it's completely different. The thought was probably, well, we could remaster the trilogy or we could remaster Andromeda. What are you going to do? Well, it's obviously
Well, then
the
you know what?
trilogy.
They could have just re-released. They just could just put it with it as it was.
Why? If you have Game Pass or EA Play, you already get it for free. Why put the
Guess what?
exact same
I
game on the
don't,
disc?
and I don't want it. But it's the Mass Effect story. I want all of it. I don't want just some of it.
I mean, I guess that's a valid point. Or you go buy Mass Effect Andromeda for $7 at GameStop. If you're really that concerned about it.
You win this argument. You win this argument making fun of it.
I mean, let's be honest here. Mass Effect Andromeda is friggin' dirt cheap at this point. It's a game that's, 3 years old that got slammed on by everyone. I'm sure a used copy is dirt cheap.
That's actually a great debate thing you just did. The only way I could argue with you is by disproving my point. I like that.
But that's enough of me geeking about Mass Effect, excuse me. I know you guys, the both of you, had WandaVision discussions you wanted to have. So if you are watching live or catching the recorded version of the podcast at this point forward and are not caught up with, this was episode 5 of WandaVision, I would encourage you to pause the podcast or pause the video stream right now. Go watch episode 5 of WandaVision. Unpause the video when you're done and then get caught up with us, because from this point forward, from the rest of the show, we're in spoiler territory.
Chris, don't be a basic bitch. Come on, everyone says that. No one actually goes and pauses what they're listening to. Just say, let me go watch this episode right quick. Pause, don't go anywhere. Pause.
Some people do.
Who? Have you ever done it?
Yes.
Fuck out of here, that bullshit.
There's a podcast I listen to called Cord Killers. It does a segment called Spoiler in Time, where they got to it and said, hey, pause here if you haven't listened to this. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't watched this yet. I paused it on my player, which was my computer, closed the computer.
So apparently Chris is the only person that's ever actually done that.
Oh, I'm not the only person that's ever done that. Calm the F down.
Chris, did you just hear that? Chris, did you hear that?
What?
Ms. Bachman over here said Willie's right again.
No, I hate it.
I bet that tastes like real shit in your mouth, Bachman.
Yeah, like a wet fart.
Hey, us boys and Team Cap gotta stick together, right? We outnumber him.
Okay. Congratulations.
That's true.
I mean, it only take one of us to take him out anyway.
Also true.
Okay. So you guys want?
And I will throw you, Chris.
You guys want to talk about WandaVision? You guys, I think, both had different points you wanted to bring up. So, Bachman, why don't you kick us off on WandaVision stuff that you wanted to bring up?
Where to start? Darcy's the best. Let's just talk about how cool Darcy is.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, I love the actress, but God, when she said Mew Mew, I did not appreciate
Mew
that.
Mew.
Why didn't
you're still all muscly and stuff? I fucking love her. She's so great. But yeah, no, huge spoilers. Yeah, we got the basically the full confirmation that everything in this town is being run by Wanda Maximoff, and that her power has, expanded to the point where a lot of people, I don't think in the MCU, if you've only seen the MCU movies and didn't read the comics about the Scarlet Witch, which also, as we were watching the show last night, we realized she's never been called that in the MCU.
You are correct.
She is just Wanda Maximoff. She doesn't have a code name. And I was like, oh yeah, shit, they never actually gave her one in the movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was literally watching the episode. It was awesome. It was like it's fun when you're watching a show like this that's based somewhat in the comics, but at the same time with the MCU, they built this alternate universe. Tony Stark didn't build fucking Ultron. Hank Pym did. There's all this different stuff in the comics where they made altered versions of it to give us our MCU because Iron Man was our starting figure. And so he ends up becoming, the founder of the Avengers that basically takes over all of Hank Pym's storylines other than beating his wife.
Probably just as well.
Deserves it.
Yeah, they changed stuff around. So then we get this version of Wanda Maximoff that is somewhat related to the comics, but isn't exactly quite the same. But then, in the comics, she uses hex magic. And then we get Darcy calling the area they're in the hex, which is, a nice little nod to the comics. But yeah, them actually going, no, Wanda Maximoff's power is way more than just telekinesis. This bitch can alter reality if she really, really wants to. And so now we're finding out that, yeah, she has completely taken over an entire town, is, transmogrifying matter when it goes in and out of this bubble to make it fit the time period of the current sitcom she's doing.
Mhm.
Holy shit. That is a power level way beyond. Because, yeah, when we get Monica Rambeau realizing that her pants are now made out of Kevlar, the entire costume she was wearing was converted from the costume she was wearing, or the outfit she was wearing when she went into the show. And so she realizes her 1970s bell-bottom pants are now bulletproof because they came back out, but they're still made from the material that was used. So yeah, the fact that Wanda is completely altering the reality of an entire town all at once, and then also just the mind fuck of poor Vision realizing that this is happening, and he doesn't really know why he doesn't remember anything before Westview. And we're getting close to Vision coming to the conclusion that he's dead, and that's why his wife lost her shit. And it's really awesome to see how well shit, I can't think of his name. What's Vision's name? The actor.
Oh,
He's
Paul
the
Bettany.
dude from
Paul Bettany.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
seeing how Paul Bettany is playing it as an android that's pretending to be human. Yeah. That's pretending to be human. That's then coming to the reality that maybe this world he's living in isn't even real, and maybe he's not even alive. Just the little shots on Paul Bettany's face during this last episode were amazing as he's playing through these emotions as he's yelling at his wife. It was so good. And then of course, yeah, we get the reveal of, hey, didn't you used to have a brother? Guess who's at the fucking door?
Not her brother.
Well, it is and it isn't, and that's the fun part. So I don't know, Willie, what did you think?
I do want to say you did. I think you're possibly wrong on something, because what you said, yes, it is being done by Wanda's powers, the whole town, but we don't know if it's under Wanda's pure intentions. It could be from an outside source.
No, I would say 100% it is her intention.
I don't know.
Or, I mean, is she being manipulated? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I think
That's
she had a
a
mental
major
breakdown.
thing. That's major rumors I'm seeing.
She had a mental
Festo.
breakdown when she went to Sword to get his body and found his actual corpse disassembled. I think she had a mental breakdown that caused her to create Westview.
There's a few theories going around about what's going on. One, that Wanda is unknowingly causing that to happen. There's another that Wanda's being manipulated to cause these kind of things to happen, because there's a lot of theories just as to who is Agnes. Is she Agatha Harkness, like a lot of people have theorized? Because they couldn't find a civilian alias for Agnes when they're doing the research. She wears a brooch on her shirt that looks like a witch. So there's a lot of thoughts there that she might be Agatha Harkness. Is she trying to save Wanda from it? Is she part of causing this to happen to Wanda? Is her husband, who she always references and is called the devil, a serious consideration of a character? Some people think, oh, maybe Mephisto is playing the role of her husband, and this is how they bring Mephisto in, and Mephisto is pulling a lot of the strings here, which then would tie you into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness if Mephisto is doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Because remember, Kevin Feige did say this leads right into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is also connected to Spider-Man 3. which has had all sorts of multiverse connotations included in it.
Yes, because you were just cast as Spider-Man, weren't you, Chris?
Yeah, right? I mean, but it's real interesting, some of the stuff that's going on in that regard. And they did tease the fact, and it got quoted out of context. Elizabeth Olsen saying, hey, they had a big reveal coming up this season. And then Variety put other context around it, trying to equate it to being comparable to the Luke Skywalker reveal in The Mandalorian, which is not what she said. But if you are going to bring someone in from the MCU that is a big reveal, my personal thought, and if you watched the Disney Plus video they put out when they debuted WandaVision, where they had the actors answering questions, they got questions from Ben in London, which was Benedict Cumberbatch, who was asking about the show. I think Doctor Strange is going to show up near the end of this show and be involved in some way, shape, and form. And that's what pulls us into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, is Doctor Strange, who is supposed to be the mystical protector of Earth, has to come and try and fix something here, which is pretty much reality being rewritten.
Yeah,
which then
by a pseudo magic power.
Right, and here's how I back up the thought that it might be Doctor Strange. Let's go talk Spider-Man Far From Home. When the Skrull version of Nick Fury is recruiting Spider-Man to go and try and save things, and Spider-Man's listing names of heroes: Captain Marvel, off-planet; Thor, off-planet; Doctor Strange, unavailable. Doctor Strange, during the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, is in Westview trying to undo this entire mess. Because if you start looking at the timelines they've established, these could overlap potentially.
Yeah, and it would kind of line up. And it makes sense. Like, I mean, eventually someone is going to have to go in there and, like, you know, rattle Wanda's cage. And
that's going to be Vision, I think.
Well, I was saying, but like on the power level, who could go in and actually even try to mess with her powers? And Doctor Strange is one of the very few characters that we have in the MCU that meets that level, to where he could go into the bubble with, you know, with magical spells. We know he could get himself in there and he could hold his own against Wanda and not be instantly just rewritten into that reality.
Or if you want to go real crazy on who it might be, I don't think this is the case, but it would fit with this whole big reveal thing and the fact that they've brought Monica Rambeau into things and referenced Captain Marvel. What if Carol Danvers showed up, who was also powered by an Infinity Gem?
No.
I'm just saying, I don't think that's going to be what it is. But they've kind of teased that it could be. There's all sorts of places they could be going with it. I think it's Doctor Strange. I think they're laying the groundwork for a bunch of stuff. Remember, she mentioned she has a friend who's an aerospace engineer that could build this for them. How cool would it be if it's Reed Richards or Sue Storm, for instance?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that a lot, too.
Krasinski,
Let's also not forget... Oh, go ahead.
Krasinski had a meeting with Marvel in June of last year. They were still filming stuff.
He fit great. That's all I know.
Yeah, there's so many different versions, but yeah, the idea that if we got Krasinski and Emily Blunt as fucking Reed and Sue, it would just be so... Because we know Jim has the heart. We know Krasinski can be that character that you just fucking love. And Reed Richards has to be the dad who's the smartest guy in the world, but is failing at being a husband and fucking up being a dad, and you still love it. Like, oh, if Krasinski gets that role, like, I want to see him do 10 fucking films as Reed Richards.
Yeah, this show is potentially laying the groundwork for a bunch of stuff with just side comments like that. They kind of hinted at the fact that Monica Rambeau may have powers now, because when she came out of the bubble, they tried to do X-rays, and it was screwed up because of photons or something like that. Yeah, well,
she does. You know,
remember, her superhero code name was Photon at one point.
I know.
Yeah,
it's already done. She has it.
And she'll be in Captain Marvel, too.
She doesn't have powers yet, but yeah, if you take in the fact that she was blipped for 5 years and now passed in and out of the bubble, she's the only person to do it besides Wanda, as far as we know. Yeah, her DNA may have been rewritten as she was tossed back out of the bubble.
So there's a lot of things that are planted here. There's also the big reveal at the end of this episode, which we sort of glossed over, which is the special guest star, or now appearing.
You get a Quicksilver. Get a Quicksilver. And everybody gets a Quicksilver.
She recast Pietro. Yeah, they recast Pietro in Westview, and Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the Marvel Fox movies, is there as Pietro within Westview. Now, there are varying opinions as to what that means. And I know Bachman has a different opinion than... Yeah, you have a different opinion than I do. Why don't you start with your opinion?
No, see, I believe that they're using this as the very simplest way to tie the Fox mutant world into the MCU. So I'm not saying that all the Fox films are canon, but by bringing in this version of Pietro and saying that he's Quicksilver, that gives you a connection to the Deadpool films. That gives you a connection to all the Fox films that they just did. And you can say, okay, mutants exist because this is the Pietro. This is a Quicksilver who was a mutant. This is not a guy who got powers from a fucking Mind Stone that, was part of Baron von Zemo's fucking experiments. Like, this was...
same powers.
Yeah, the exact same powers. He has super speed, just like his brother. Uses it slightly different, looks slightly different, but it's still Quicksilver. It's still the one speedster in the Marvel Universe, which is always weird because he's also, by comparison, so slow compared to the Flash. I don't know why Quicksilver's never gotten an update and just been made way better.
Is he actually a speedster in the comics again now? Because I know at one point he lost his powers and was like a time traveler that replicated.
Time dilation. That's what he does.
Yeah, at one point he does time dilation. But yeah, the
that's
fact
how
that
you explained his speed, though.
Dude runs real fast.
Yeah, dude
run
runs real
Pietro,
fast.
run.
Yeah, just like Barry. But yeah, I think this is the simplest way, especially when you talk about non-comic book fans. You talk about the general population of the world, the people who've watched, maybe watched all the Fox movies, maybe have watched all the Marvel movies and don't understand why it is that if these ones are Marvel over here and these ones are Marvel over here, why can Wolverine not be in the Avengers film?
Oh my god! Because we don't want Logan or not Logan. We don't want X-Men Origins Wolverine to be canon.
True,
okay,
but
you're not wrong.
You also got to know that there's a large percentage of the world's population that doesn't understand IP rights between companies and why the X-Men movies can't cross over with the Avengers. And this, I think, is the simplest way to say, we're going to start mixing those two worlds. Not necessarily that everything's canon and it's all one thing, but just the very first thing is saying, these two worlds are touching.
So while I think that could be possible, I don't think that's what this is. And we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show, so if you were here for our pre-show, you probably caught it. But here's my opinion or point of view of what they might be doing here. This show is really, really good at having become a water cooler discussion kind of thing. Like, after you get past the first three shows and things start picking up, this is something you like to talk about with your friends each week. Water cooler discussion being the thing, like, you go to work on Monday and you're like, oh my God, did you see this show? And everyone talks about it. That's what this is kind of turned into. And they like to give us these wink and nods to references to other things, or the fact that, hey, we know the kind of things you're going to theorize about, because let's go back to Jimmy Woo on the whiteboard from episode 4. Like, there's the wink and nod. Like, they're writing the things that the fans are thinking. Is Vision alive? Why hexagons? Things like that.
Yep.
I thought it was 4.
Yeah, 4. I was like
4.
3 or 4. I can't remember which one was the recap, pretty much.
Yeah, which was the recap.
But
they really enjoy taking what we have seen, be like, hey, we know you have these kind of questions. Taking those same questions and having someone bring them up in the show and screwing with us. So they like to play with our expectations. So I think they love the fact that they could bring Evan Peters in to play the role of Wanda's brother. However, I don't think he's playing Quicksilver from the Fox movies. I think he's playing the role of Pietro, a guy who is called Pietro in Westview, who is seen as her brother, in part because they know they can screw with us. And what are we all going to talk about for the next week? Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Justifiably so. Does this mean they're bringing those movies into these movies? What does it mean for everything? And they can get us all stirred up and talking about it, and they can kind of give us a wink and a nod when we get into next week's episode, where they sort of explain things or put a little more ambiguity in there to keep us spun up. I honestly think they're just trolling us in the right way, which is they want us to think something. They want us to get spun up because it causes conversation and we all have a lot of fun with it. I've really enjoyed tons of theories I've seen going around, but I've also thought that a lot of these sites like comicbook.com or various other like nerd blog sites have been kind of irresponsible by saying, oh my God, they folded the Fox movies into the MCU. We don't know what they've done at this point in time. We had a guy show up that looks like Quicksilver from the Fox movies. That is Evan Peters playing the role of Pietro, not necessarily the same Pietro we've met there. So I think they are enjoying the fact that they did that. And maybe it's because I just like to be contrary a lot of the time. I like the thought that they would cast him in there just to tweak us a little bit. And be like, haha, you thought we were going to do it, but we didn't. Because my only concern would be, is that if you bring him in and you start mixing the worlds, where do you draw the line of who's brought in and who's not? And I'll be honest, I don't want to see most of the people who were cast as X-Men in the recent crop of movies as the X-Men in the MCU right now. I don't want that.
Well, yeah, let's be honest. The only ones we want are Quicksilver, Magneto, and Prof X. Everybody else can go.
Deadpool, and I want Colossus from Deadpool.
No, you don't get him. He was already drafted somewhere else.
Yeah,
I kind of like Daniel Cudmore. I say go back to the kid from the original X-Men films. I liked his Colossus because he was human.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't like the idea of a version of Colossus that never turns into skin. Like, it's fucking dumb.
Well, I don't think they ever had him turn back just because that would have been meaning they'd have to do different special effects to make it happen.
I hated it in X2, X-Men Unite. I hate it because it's so like, yeah, we can see Colossus do something. Oh, he just blocks some bullets and then off camera everything else.
So that's my take on what they're doing here, is that they're taking our expectations of, oh my God, this means this, and they're purposely tweaking us a little bit. And I'm totally okay if it ends up being that. I'm okay if it means they folded in this Pietro from the Marvel Universe. I'm fine with that too. So I don't know that I necessarily have a dog in the fight either way. I'm just enjoying the fact that we're having a pretty fun conversation about it. Now, Willie, you had mentioned you were curious what our opinions were. I don't know if you'd actually said what your opinion was in the pre-show of what they're doing here.
No,
or do you kind of have an idea of what they're doing here?
Well, I mean, there's a couple different possibilities. One of them I see that it hasn't been stated for. Is this all just, what if this is just going to be like used just as a joke, a throwaway joke? It was just a misdirect.
No, I mean, that's kind of in line with my same opinion. We're sort of talking the same language there.
I don't think that's what they're going to do, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, okay. It's definitely possible.
I don't fully know what this means. They threw, I guess, this. Why can't they just fucking release it all at once?
I think
no.
Because of the water
I know what
cooler
you said.
discussion.
Hey, I hated that. Don't fucking say that.
Because of exactly what Chris said, I think this is why they did not give us the entire show. Because motherfuckers would have watched this show. Somebody would have binged it the Thursday night at midnight when it first came out. And by 8 a.m. that first Friday, there would have been spoilers on Twitter for the entire fucking season.
Yeah.
And as it is, I have enough trouble getting to Saturday night without finding out what the fuck happened on WandaVision the night before. Like, by avoiding Twitter for a night worth, while I wait to watch it with my girlfriend on Saturday. Like, it's hard enough to avoid it, social media spoilers that are out, 8 a.m. Friday. Every fucking day there's a spoiler of this show. And so, yeah, I think the show would have been much easier, much more palpable for people to understand if they could have sat and watched the first 4 episodes in a row, because the first 3 are so confusing. But as we're seeing now, as they're giving us more and more of it, it makes perfect fucking sense why they did this one weekly. I think they had a huge discussion at Disney about whether or not this should be a weekly show that gets released every Friday, or should we drop the whole thing Netflix style? And I'll bet you somebody on the writing staff was like, they're going to bitch for the first 3 weeks, and after that, they're going to love us because we're going to give it to them a week at a time. And I bet somebody fought for that, and they were right.
Side note, we need to get off this 3 a.m. Eastern time release of new releases on Disney Plus, because Bachman, you're 100% right. Trying to get through unspoiled is really hard. I think I've been lucky in the fact that most of the people I follow on Twitter aren't assholes, so I haven't gotten spoiled on Twitter. But I also don't use the official Twitter app, so I never see what the trending topics are on Twitter unless I go look for them. And that was part of the problem for this is Evan Peters was trending for quite a while after this reveal. So if you can avoid the trending topics and you've curated your following list, you might be okay. But yeah, the spoilers for this would have been a huge problem. You're 100% right, because we've seen how everyone likes to discuss this. And if you were discussing all 9 episodes the day it came out, it would have been spoiled and ruined for a bunch of folks. And that's fine if you're someone who doesn't mind spoilers. But there's a lot of other folks that don't like to get spoilers because they like to come up with their own thoughts of what's going to happen and just be shocked when they get some of these moments. Like, for instance, in Mandalorian, I'm glad the Luke Skywalker moment wasn't spoiled for me because it was fantastic. It would not have been as cool had I known it was coming.
Yeah, that one was almost spoiled for me. Yeah, Mandalorian, same thing as WandaVision. Like, I started avoiding social media on Fridays because, I don't want to see anything. And luckily, I haven't been spoiled, so I've been super happy. But yeah, I've literally been following people. Like, I'll open up Twitter, on Friday morning as I get up and I'm getting ready to get do my stream or stuff before I get ready for work in the afternoon, and like I'll look at Twitter, I'll be scrolling, and like someone will say, "God damn it, why did somebody already spoil this for me?" I just close Twitter. It's like I'm seeing the people that are complaining about the spoilers, but I'm not seeing the spoilers. So yes, I've stopped following the right people apparently. But yeah, some of the people I follow are still being spoiled. So I'm like, okay, yeah, just no Twitter today.
So the other way to do it is if you're someone who needs to use Twitter because of you're a streamer and you need it to help support things like that. You have 2 Twitter clients, one for when you're okay with knowing spoilers, the other for when you're not. And seriously, like run like Tweetbot or something like that on your iOS devices. And on that version of Twitter, have like every kind of hashtag about an upcoming show muted so you don't see like WandaVision or hashtag Vision or things like that. And that will help, because there are some folks that have talked about doing things like that. Is when the show drops, they go, okay, I know I don't use the official Twitter client. I use this other third-party one I bought because I can block a bunch of terms that would spoil me.
Yeah, for the last 2 Star Wars films, I had everything dealing with the word Star Wars blocked.
Yeah.
So I got no notifications on Twitter with anything that had the word Star Wars in it. And so, yeah, I got to go into both those movies opening day, and I didn't know anything, which is awesome.
So going back to your point, Willie, I understand why you would really enjoy having all 9 at once. I also completely understand why Disney didn't do it. It's exactly like what Bachman said, because it's how they tell the best story, and it's also how they get everyone talking about this show for 9 weeks.
Why? That's copyrighted. We can't do that.
Bye, Babu.
Did someone bring up this guy? What, I'm confused.
I just talked about the last 2 Star Wars films.
Oh, I blocked
and the
out
greatest
Star Wars,
thing from them, Babu Freak.
I have this client in my head that blocks out anything that's talked about Star Wars that will bore me. So, yeah.
And he laughs at you.
Yeah, I tend to ignore episode 9 myself, but that's just me.
I love Babu.
I mean,
Babu's all right, but...
Or just to elaborate for everybody.
Babu's the best.
Babu is only there for like 2 seconds.
Babu saved the whole galaxy by fixing C-3PO.
By fixing convenient plot device that was inserted into the movie.
Which is what all Star Wars films are based on.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Hence the vent shaft and the Death Star. Come on. It all started with a convenient plot device, and it's only gotten better.
You're not wrong. Perhaps that's why I've enjoyed the Marvel stuff lately, because it feels like it's a bit more smartly written, for lack of a better term. Because let's pivot back to WandaVision, where we were. Willie, did we answer the questions you were wanting answered in the pre-show? Because you said you wanted to ask us something.
The questions I wanted to answer.
Wanted answered? Oh.
Wanted.
Ooh. Wah, wah, wah.
I'm letting it get out of the system. He'll tire himself out and pass out.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time. It's got to happen soon. Right?
So as we wrap up the WandaVision talk, though, we still have 4 episodes left, guys. I have no idea where they're going right now.
Well, before we get away from WandaVision, I mean, there's also, I'm surprised no one's mentioned the line that was said that Wanda could have took out Thanos by herself.
They're not wrong.
Yeah. Which is confirmation of, like, bunch of fans talking online about the fact that basically the 2 characters that actually scared him in that fight were fucking Wanda and Captain Marvel. Like, those are the only ones that one-on-one actually stood up to Thanos.
It's also funny that the plot of WandaVision is pretty much also the same basic plot of a 90s zombie movie called My Boyfriend's Back.
It's also the plot of like a 1970s Avengers comic they've also sort of redone a little bit too. They're rehashing that and some of Tom King's current Vision run too.
I'm being facetious here.
The real question is, at the end of this show, do we get just a one shot of Wanda's mouth and her saying a phrase?
No.
Is that how the show ends?
No.
More mutants.
More mutants.
Just like if Return of the Living Dead. More brains. Send more brains.
So I don't think that this show is going to be directly responsible for mutants, but we've seen how they may actually make that happen, because they talked about like the cosmic background radiation and things like that. We talked about how Monica got pushed out and that might have potentially given her powers.
Jared Kesso's Wolverine. I'm calling it.
Well,
so
and plus, we literally have no knowledge of all of the implications of the people that were blinked back 5 years later. Half half of the population could be mutants. We don't know.
So I am starting to think in my theory, and I think we talked about on the show, is that the Fantastic Four will be doing a mission for SWORD, and that's how they get their powers, presumably, is what I'm starting to think. Is they'll go and do a mission in space. They may be working for SWORD as scientists, something like that. That's how the Fantastic Four come into being. Is
to
whatever
investigate cosmic background radiation.
I think at this point in time, the Fantastic Four are effectively going to be mutants, and that same kind of radiation that sparks them could also be used to do something to Earth, which then causes some people to mutate, and that is how the mutant gene gets triggered, for lack of a better term.
So they're not going to be so much as born into it. All of it's just going to be given.
No, so here was the mindset I had of it. And I don't know how they'll actually spin it. Is that some people have the potential to be a mutant, but something has to trigger that, some kind of energy or some kind of change. And this is kind of what unlocks
that's
that.
the Inhuman theory.
It is
that
almost Inhuman theory. Yeah,
that wouldn't be a mutant. That would be an Inhuman. Because mutants naturally have their powers. They just don't always turn on until puberty. But their genetic code gives them superpowers. They are born with abilities. Inhumans are born with potential,
correct?
But they have to go through the Terrigen Mist, where the original Fantastic Four, there was nothing mutant about them, nothing inhuman about them. They were totally human, but cosmic radiation altered their DNA and gave them superpowers.
Correct. I'm just trying to figure out how they would make it happen in everything they've established now in the MCU. And it would seem very strange that we have not seen a single mutant until now. So I'm trying to figure out how, with the existing plot devices we have, you could potentially kind of explain that away.
And that's, I think we're going to see the end of WandaVision as a fight with Doctor Strange and Wanda where she resets reality.
I also think there's something going on.
And I think that brings in all the mutants you need. I think she does something at the end of the show where when she deals with the fact that her husband's dead, possibly loses her 2 kids, which they did that in the comics. She created Billy and Tommy, and then in the comics, they basically disappeared at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and they were part of Mephisto's soul also, I think.
No, they were also part of that dude's hands. I remember seeing that image. It was creepy.
But yeah. There was a point where she lost her kids and, lost her mind again and disassembled the Avengers, as it were. So, I think we could see, a throwdown between Strange and Wanda where she has to come to terms with the loss of her husband, with, Vision being dead, possibly losing her kids, giving up Westview, and then saying, well, then fuck you, I'll just rewrite reality. And she just changes the whole MCU.
I mean, I still think there's someone moving the scenes, someone behind the scenes moving these things. It has to be, because, look, they already called it out that one woman, Agnes, is not in there. She's not part of the town.
I think someone is exploiting Wanda's
who's also
breakdown and powers at the same time. I don't think it's Agnes. I think Agnes is trying to undo it. I honestly think this is how they bring in Mephisto. And it's Mephisto pulling the strings, and this all ends with Mephisto pulling her strings, and she realizes that Mephisto's manipulated her into bringing back the love of her life, creating children, things like that. Because I don't think they're going to make Wanda the full-on bad guy for Doctor Strange, like a lot of people are starting to think, is that she breaks and basically becomes the antagonist for Doctor Strange. I think that is her and the Doctor Strange trying to undo the things that would happen because of the manipulations that were being done.
I got it.
Okay.
Could be.
All right, if they do bring in Mephisto, that's what I'm going to call it.
Mephisto?
If they bring him in.
Definitely not how you say that name.
No.
She's probably going to go, she's probably going to leave with him and side with him at the end of it. And that's what... side
with the devil?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And then, that's what the Doctor Strange movie is going to be, probably halfway through, 2/3 of the way through. All right, I'm gonna turn on him. Blah blah blah. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, and if you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole of Mephisto, then they could also bring that into the Spider-Man movie. Because remember how they put the genie back.
Mephisto?
How'd they put the genie back in the bottle when Peter Parker's identity was given to the entire world as part of the Civil War arc?
Yeah, he gave up.
He made a deal with the devil. He made a deal with Mephisto. Well, I guess his wife technically made the deal with the devil, is what they ended up retconning it to. But then you have
blame the woman. They always fuck things up. Kidding.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. They've I was not a big fan of One More Day. I think it's a terrible idea. I really hope they don't adapt that for Spider-Man to undo the identity reveal. But in theory, if they follow some of the source material that's there, they could use the devil and his ability to rewrite reality, or better yet, his ability to manipulate Wanda into redoing so, or into doing so rather, to undo the reveal of his secret identity. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But do I think it's interesting to debate and say what if about? Yes.
So here's the real question. We get Mephisto in the MCU through Disney Plus TV shows. Who do we cast as Mephisto? Who gets to play the motherfucking devil?
That's tough.
The trickiest, the only motherfucker trickier than Loki.
There's one person that comes to mind who played the best devil ever, and that was in Constantine.
Tim Curry's a little too old. I'm sorry, he can't do it anymore.
Constantine, the guy who I can't remember his name.
No, I'm sorry. You said best devil ever. That would be Tim Curry, The Darkness.
All right, but he was also technically the son of the devil, so not the devil himself.
So wait, you're talking about the Constantine TV show or the Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves?
There's a movie. Sorry, yeah, I forgot the show was just called Constantine 2.
Wait, who was the devil in that?
Yeah, who was that? I can't remember.
Oh, wait, wasn't that Gavin Rossdale from Bush? Or no, he was just one of the demons.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't know who you would cast. That's an interesting conversation, but
I know
Gavin
mine.
Rossdale.
I want to see Zachary Quinto as Mephisto.
that could be interesting.
Bring in Sylar as the big bad for the MCU.
No,
How fucking cool would that be?
Let's pick someone who would chew up scenery, because if you're the devil, you're gonna have some fun with it. You're gonna be chewing up scenery,
Did you not watch
right?
Heroes? Zachary Quinto can chew some fucking scenery.
Yeah.
But who can do it better? Peter Stormare.
Who?
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, Peter
Again,
Stormare.
where do I know him?
wouldn't be
Where would
bad.
I know him from? I don't know who you're talking about.
He was the psychiatric help in Until Dawn, the game, my game of the year 2015.
Yeah, you know him as
Russian dude's brother and
shut up. The Russian gangster in John Wick who calls him Baba Yaga, the boogeyman.
Ah.
Well, I mean,
No,
he
you
also
can't fight
called-
John Wick. Like
Okay.
He's gonna kill us.
He was only at the very beginning of that movie. He was the brother of the first movie guy that fights.
Yeah,
at the very
was
beginning,
also
he would
the
get his car back.
He was also the Russian in the first and second seasons of Prison Break.
Okay.
He's
yeah.
been
Usually
he's
a
been in bunch
Russian
of stuff.
gangster. Yeah, he's usually a Russian gangster. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he can chew some scenery though.
And Lev Andropov in Armageddon. He was the Russian
There you go.
astronaut. You Americans always cowboys.
I mean, I know who I think would be interesting, but they could put him in a bunch of things I think would be
What's
interesting.
there?
That'd be Sterling K. Brown.
Who?
Yeah. He was
No, but
the
seriously, who?
brother of T'Chaka in the Black
Yeah,
Panther.
that's why they won't do it, because he was already
Yeah.
in.
Oh, yeah, they can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
But then
But
again, I don't
I
know.
can see
We've
that.
had actors play multiple roles in Marvel characters, so it's not impossible.
And he's going to be behind a ton of different effects and stuff like that, I would assume, for it too. But like, he
He's
can
gonna have a human form, of course.
he can go to like those dark, weird places. Like, even you wouldn't have thought, like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the dude got super dark and weird when he was guest starring as a serial killer, and you're just like, holy crap! The
He's a serial killer on there? Damn.
yeah. Where there's an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that's Jake and Holt interrogating him, trying to get him to trip up and admit that he's a killer and things like that. And the entire episode is basically centered around them in a room with this guy, and it's so good. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to use him. I don't know who they would use as Mephisto, and I don't know if it's Marvel. They'll probably go with a big name. I just don't know who it would be.
Well, I mean, they're only gonna go with the big name. If our speculations are correct, and he's also going to be in Doctor Strange, then yes, it would probably be someone big name. If not, then no, I doubt it will be.
It's entirely possible, and I wouldn't be shocked if
Mid name, I'll give you.
if
not
all
big
of this theorizing comes to naught and it's just something completely different, and we all go, how the hell did I not see they were going to do that? Because they always do that to us. I like the idea of bringing Mephisto in and making him be responsible for a lot of the S that happens in, what is this, phase 5, phase 4, whatever phase we're in now.
Yeah, phase 4. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about it. Yeah, we've already had Mephisto. Fucking Peter Fonda was Mephisto in the Ghost Rider movie.
Ooh, I heard Marvel wants
Technically.
Nick Cage back as Ghost Rider.
Where'd you hear that? I mean, not that I'm opposed to the idea, but
I mean, it's probably just a rumor. I don't know where I saw
yeah.
it. Somewhere
But
on
was it
Reddit.
like a rumor you got from We Got This Covered, or is it a rumor you got
I
from
don't
somebody
know.
who's
I didn't
reputable?
click on the thing to go to. I just saw the
Websites
headline
that
on
knows
Reddit. I was like,
nothing is
oh,
full of
that's
lies.
interesting.
I
So
felt
I did hear it.
I felt bad. I had to break the souls of one of the guys at the Digital Soup. I'm not sure who it was that tweeted from the Digital Soup account that they were going to be bringing Daisy into a Sword TV show, and they cited We Got This Covered. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
I've been burned on
they
this
never got
before. Don't
anything
ever cite
covered.
We Got This Covered.
Yeah. They never got anything covered, and they're always wrong.
Well, they just guess until they're right, and then they're like, hey, we knew this because our source who told us
Yeah.
this before told us. And you're like, yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah, we write up 100 theories and call them all sourced articles, and then when one of them's right, we say that we're geniuses.
Look, if you want to make wild theories, that's great. There's a time and place for it. But wild theories don't get the clicks. They always claim that those theories are right. So people give them the clicks. They start talking about it. And that's how we get weird stories out there. Everyone goes, where the hell did this come from? Because it sounds so off the wall. And you eventually backtrace it to, oh, we got this covered. Because like someone was trying to say that Disney was going to cast Robert Downey Jr. as Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I was like, where the hell did you get that? And I backtracked it like 6 stories deep. And I was like, oh, this is where they got it from. And it was another site similar to We Got This Covered. That's like, oh, Disney's considering Robert Downey Jr. for Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm like, yeah, but is Robert Downey Jr. considering being Grand Admiral Thrawn? They can consider him all they want. But
Not that I'm a Star Wars fan, but I do not see Robert Downey Jr. being in Star Wars. That just doesn't seem like a
why not?
fit. Just doesn't seem like a fit.
I could see him doing it just to break the "I'm not Iron Man" thing.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah, he does, because Dr. Doolittle sure as
Yeah,
fuck didn't do
Doolittle
it.
or whatever it was not very
Well,
good.
first
Did
of all,
not
Disney
make
said,
it.
"Hey, won't you be in this movie too?" And he was like, "Sure, why not?"
He
Sherlock
produced
Holmes,
it though.
no.
It was his production house that did it. I think he was the one that was interested in it. Sherlock Holmes, he's
enough.
doing another one though, supposedly.
That was
which I'm
Guy
okay
Ritchie. Right?
Guy Ritchie, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
I
that.
keep getting my guys mixed up. Guy Pierce, Guy Ritchie, that guy over there.
I'm not your guy, pal.
Standing-
I'm not your
He's
buddy,
standing in my
pal.
corner, guy.
The guy from Final Fight.
Yeah.
Guy.
I don't know.
Thank you so much, Bachman. I enjoyed that.
You're welcome.
I've
Really,
really
Hagler was the man, the mayor.
wrapping this up though. I've really enjoyed the fact that WandaVision is basically everyone kind of scratches their head, goes, I have no idea what the F happened, thinks about it and goes, oh my God, I had so much fun with that. What are they going to do next? And that's what's
Yeah.
been so much fun is that anytime they do something, I try and predict what they're going to do next. And I've been wrong more often than right. And I'm having so much fun trying to figure out how I got it wrong and what
Yeah.
they're going to do next.
Yeah, as someone that I've seen every Marvel show. I own all the Marvel movies, and I've read almost every one of the comics that all these stories are based on slightly. Yeah, it's been super enjoyable to see like, because this is not the story of fucking, Avengers Disassembled. This is not the story of fucking the House of M.
Right.
But it has ingredients from both, and the way they're mixing them has made for some really fun shit. Because, yeah, like this episode, like, honestly, like the moment when Vision starts figuring shit out and Wanda tries to roll credits on his ass, like, that was awesome. It's like, bitch, don't you end this episode? I'm talking to you.
And then when he
Like,
gets
that
mad
was
and
so
is like,
cool.
I'm scared. I don't remember anything before this. And you're like, okay, he's a synthezoid who's trying to portray that he's scared. You're like, man, Bettany, you're right on the edge.
Yeah.
Just nailing this. And Elizabeth Olsen has also been really
It
good
was
too.
oh, yeah, she's doing great. Because, yeah, it's like the whole, like, she's like, oh, no, everything's fine. My whole world is great. And, like, but you can see, like, there's fucking sadness in her. Like, she knows she's basically talking to a corpse. Like, it's so creepy.
Now, is she actually bringing him back? Who is Vision in this?
So,
like,
yeah.
what is it? What is moving around and talking?
What I think is moving and talking.
I know
is
the body,
dead,
but
it's his dead corpse.
Right.
but
'Cause
then
there was that
what's his personality? Is this
There was
him or is
that
this
one
Wanda?
flash where
I
it
know.
was literally his body with his head still caved in. But I
know.
think the personality and everything, I think that's just all her subconscious.
That's
Her
what I was thinking.
subconscious
That-
is
Make sure-
and
seeing
remember-
out Vision the way she thinks he would.
The gem that gave her powers is what was in Vision's forehead.
Yeah.
So
Which is
it's
part
entirely
of what
possible
made him Vision.
There's
Yeah.
some kind of echo in her, basically, from having destroyed that gem. So maybe there's some lingering level of his consciousness or whatever that she was able to read or glean, and she's using that to basically reanimate the corpse. Like, I was wrong. last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about this, when we had that flash of the dead Vision, I said it either in the Discord group or here, I can't remember where. I was like, I'm not 100% sure that that's his dead body being reanimated versus her just remembering the last way she saw him, and that slipped through because she was losing her grasp on things, and that he was just a creation of her powers. I was wrong. It's seemingly her controlling his dead body and giving it personality.
Because now we've seen she actually went to Sword and like literally took his dead body back. It's
we didn't know this though when I made that theory. So
we didn't know that,
I was wrong.
week.
But that makes it so much creepier now when we realize the fact that she's basically reanimating his dead body.
Yeah, she's puppeting her and she's calling her husband, but like she's puppeting her ex-boyfriend's dead corpse. Like
she was in bed with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's creepy, man.
She has 2 fake kids with that thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, are the kids fake or are they not? Whatever. I don't even want to get into that right now. But I wonder how long Sword has been in play. Just as long as Shield, I think.
Presumably, it was probably birthed somewhere around the same time as Nick Fury birthed his Avengers Initiative. So Shield existed before, but sometime after Captain Marvel movie, Sword was created.
Do you think there's a possibility there could be more Hydra lurking in Sword?
No, because they won't go back to that well again.
I mean,
if Hydra was lurking, it would have already happened, I would assume, as part of what happened when Hydra came out of the weeds with.
It would have been part of the blow up of Winter Soldier. Yeah. It would have been part of that explosion when everything went crazy.
That is the best TV show and movie crossover is when that whole Winter Soldier movie came out and Agents of Shield.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
Yeah, they're like shit. We're not a secret organization anymore, and we were run by Hydra.
Blown and and fucking Coconut Pete's going crazy on us.
Yeah. So some stuff I didn't realize on this as we wrap it up is that the director, I guess, I think it's a Matt Shankman or I can't remember, directed every episode of WandaVision is what I read online. So it's like one director that did everything, and the showrunner and writer Jack Schaefer. She also wrote or was a co-writer for Black Widow. So I'm more excited for Black Widow now because I've enjoyed the way that the writer here has just screwed with us in WandaVision. And I'm like, okay, if this is the kind of stuff we're getting, I'm going to enjoy a spy story where we've got all sorts of misdirects and things like that because we're already seeing tons of misdirects and things like that here. So I'm good with it. I'm more optimistic about WandaVision now that I've realized that, one of the people doing WandaVision also did that.
Oh, you're more optimistic about Black Widow.
Yeah, sorry, brain fart.
Meh.
Yeah, no, it makes me. Yeah, it does make me a little more optimistic about it as well. And yeah, like on IMDb, they have Matt Shackman listed as the series director for all 9 episodes, and Jack Schaefer created by and writing credits for all 9 episodes.
I really want to know what Kevin Feige's going to lock those guys down to do next, because if there's one thing we've realized as Feige got more control over Marvel Studios, when he likes the work people do, he locks them down to get them to do more stuff. We've seen it with James Gunn. We've seen it with Taika Waititi right now.
And the brothers, the Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers.
He squeezed every fucking ounce of imagination out of them boys and made them work basically for what 4 years solid on 2 Avengers films. And they're like, bitch, we need a break.
So, I mean, that's one thing we've seen, though, is that if you do good work and you're in that world, Kevin Feige is going to give you more opportunities to do it. So I'm really curious to see what Jack Schaefer, what Max Shakeman yet to do post WandaVision. Let them play in the sandbox some more. There's a lot of room in this sandbox to do more crazy, weird shit, and I want to see it.
And here's the other funny thing that we haven't even mentioned. So we're we're halfway through WandaVision. Then we're going to get Captain America Winter Soldier, which we know is probably all going to be just contemporary.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's fucking Captain America. I mean, people are going to deal with that shit.
No, he's been making a point in the interviews of saying that he didn't accept the mantle at the end of Endgame. Just because Cap gave him the shield didn't mean he accepted.
Although I also didn't hear him say no either.
Yeah,
that's true.
We're going to see the whole Nick Spencer storyline from the comic books where we're literally going to have racists on social media using the hashtag #NotMyCap, which they literally did in the comic books 4 years ago. But no, we're going to get that show, which we are assuming is going to be contemporary of what's going on with them. But then we also have another 3rd show coming that's literally Loki bouncing throughout time and space. And, we don't even have a fucking clue what they're going to do with him yet. there's all sorts of shit that like Feige's already figured out going forward, and like we don't have a fucking clue what they're gonna do with Tom Hiddleston at this point, and that's awesome because they're fucking shit up with WandaVision, and we literally don't have even an iota of an idea of what Loki's gonna do with that goddamn space gem.
And we're just talking.
I already know exactly what's going to happen in Loki and how it ends. It's easy. Yeah, he's going to go a whole adventure, and he's going to come right back to the same exact spot and repeat what originally happened, where the time
The split happened.
There's no split where he pretty much corrects it. So he's going to go right back in custody as if he never left it. Exactly what's going to happen. He's using time stone to fucking not time stone, the fucking space stuff.
Space stone.
You can move through. I guess you can't move through time.
No, you can move through space.
I don't know. That's how it's probably going to work out, though, somehow or some way.
So we talked. There's a bunch of Disney Plus series coming up. That's all we talked about there. Don't forget, in between all these Disney Plus series, they're filming and getting ready to put out more movies whenever movie theaters can reopen again. Because we know they're filming Thor 4 right now. We've seen on-screen set photos
Love and Thunder
of Thor with the Guardians and things like that, and Thor's new costume, and Thor is evidently ripped again and looks like he's straight out of the 80s. I'm totally cool with it. But they're filming.
Does that mean he used Star-Lord's Bowflex?
Yeah, right? But, I mean, this is the thing we've got to consider, is it's a whole new kind of world when it comes to this Marvel content. Yes, they were sort of connected with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that connection became more and more tenuous as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went on longer and as they started doing more crazy, weird shit in the Marvel Universe, because it was different people heading up the TV side of Marvel versus the Marvel Studios movie side of the house. Kevin Feige controls everything now. Everything is in Kevin Feige's court right now to say, hey, it's on you. Figure out how this is going to work. You've had the grand vision. It's going to be really interesting to see. We're folks that are going to watch whatever content they give us. There's some folks that aren't going to watch all the content.
Release it all at once next time, you dickbags.
I mean, but in all seriousness, there's going to be some folks that don't necessarily care about the WandaVision show and may still go see a Doctor Strange movie. And I'm curious how you deal with the fact that that's going to be building off of 9 episodes of a TV show that someone may not have been watching, how you make it so that it's still accessible to everyone. It's going to be interesting where we go from this point going forward. That's not to say I think it's all going to go bad or I have concerns, because as long as Kevin Feige's in charge of things, my concerns are mostly minimized, because he's done a pretty good job of mitigating any time there was a problem or we thought there'd be a problem coming and making things work. My real concern still for Marvel Studios and the cinematic universe as a whole is what happens when someone offers Kevin Feige a deal he can't say no to and he goes to do something else.
He goes to the dark side.
Well, I mean, and it's funny you mentioned a Star Wars
deal
reference.
at him bigger than running fucking Marvel.
Okay, so here's one of the things that got thrown out there and there was potential of is that, and some people still throw it around, is Kathleen Kennedy. Some say she's on thin ice with Disney. Some say she's not. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. But some folks were reporting that insiders at Disney wanted Kevin Feige to go take over the Star Wars universe to do similar to what he did for Marvel with Star Wars. He can't run both. Nobody's got that much time to run both the Marvel and the Star Wars universes.
Well,
but
he's got time to put his name on both, but at least one of them would vastly suffer if he was supposedly running both universes.
So that was what made me think that ages ago is, oh, well, what happens when if Kevin Feige gets pulled to go do Star Wars? Because there's a big investment in that, and it's not necessarily that it's wrong, but a lot of people say, hey, we need to right the ship because things aren't necessarily right here. Remember where we were with Star Wars at the end of episode 9 compared to where we are now with 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And if you start reading the dirt rags, there's evidently 2 different factions at Lucasfilm. I don't necessarily believe it, but there's a lot of infighting behind the scenes there as things are going on. I think they might
also they've got Favreau over there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and Dave Filoni.
I think they found their Kevin Feige in Favreau and Filoni for Star Wars.
I think if
all the
anybody, if anybody running fucking Disney has a brain in their head, they're just gonna hand Star Wars keys over to Dave Filoni and say we're good. Like, he's literally like the heir apparent to George Lucas. He's made more Star Wars than anybody, and every bit of Star Wars he's been involved in has been good. Dave Filoni hasn't failed yet. Like, whether you like Kathleen Kennedy or not, like there's some people that like stuff she's done, some people that don't, but everything Dave Filoni's been a part of has been amazing. And he has love for Star Wars unlike any other creator in the world. Nobody loves Star Wars the way Dave Filoni does.
Right. So I think we can all agree that part of the problem with the sequel trilogy, like it or not, whether you like it, whether you hate it, is the fact that they didn't follow the Marvel method, for lack of a better term here, which is they didn't plan things out where they were trying to go with it. They didn't. It's obvious. J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson had very different visions for what it is they wanted to do. And you can tell because one movie basically retconned the other movie.
Yeah.
I don't say that facetiously. That's honestly how it appears to me. So I think part of the lesson learned from that is you need to do something similar to what they've done in the Marvel Studios side of the house, which is have a plan for where you're going to go. And you can't tell me they didn't have a plan for where they were going to go over the 2-season arc of The Mandalorian and plant all of the seeds early on for what they're going to do and then figure out what they're going to pull from. That's what you need to do with this going forward if you want to be this massive multimedia empire that's going to tie everything together and tell a story that everyone's going to want to see, is you need to plan things out. And we've sort of seen a shift towards that in the Star Wars side of the house, because now we've got all of these spin-offs of The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian planted all the seeds for different things that are going to happen. And maybe you've seen a shift in
10 shows coming.
Yeah, so you've potentially seen a shift in mindset for how things need to be handled there. And honestly, I don't understand why no one realized when you're going to do 3 new Star Wars movies that you need to have a plan for what you're going to do. George Lucas could get away with it because it was his baby and he could change things however he wanted. But
yeah,
I sort of get the thought of we want different filmmakers to put their different slant on Star Wars. And that was great for the anthology movies. That's not how you should have done the actual saga movies.
Yeah. There should have been, someone that had one overarching idea for 7, 8, and 9, and we didn't get that, and that's what caused a whole lot of complaints.
But we also need to remember, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Marvel Studios' method of doing things is the aberration compared to everyone else. The fact that they've had things planned out phases at a time and planted seeds for things that doesn't actually come to fruition later, that's not what you see with a lot of these big mega properties out there. Like, I mean, you'll see it in TV more than you'll see it in movies. Like, J. Michael Straczynski with Babylon 5 freaking planted seeds in episode 1 of Babylon 5 that didn't pay off until season 4 or 5.
Well, and the really sad thing is that DC has actually proved they can do it, but they can only do it on CW television. They can't do it in their fucking movies.
I mean, but here's the thing. I think they've also shifted to realizing their movies, they don't necessarily have to do it that way. Because we've sort of seen them pivot back into, we're just going to tell stories set in this universe, not necessarily everything's all connected.
Yeah, and because of that, we got
one comes
Joker.
out this year.
Snyder Cut?
Nope. Suicide Squad.
That actually does look fun.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
I mean,
the Suicide Squad.
This took us down.
I don't know why it is that I can't see the Peacemaker. I don't get it.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this took us down a fun path. We deep dived. We went down the Marvel route. We went down the DC route. We went down the Star Wars route. I think what it comes down to is we're having a lot of fun with what they're doing in Marvel Studios. Willie, the Peacemakers.
Yeah, I know. Played by John Cena. I was going with the
can't
joke.
see
I was
me.
making it better. You jackass.
So I think the takeaway here is
Tickle that motherfucker.
we're having a lot of fun with what they're doing in Marvel. WandaVision's a ton of fun because we have no idea where they're going to go. We have a lot of fun coming up with these theories, and then we can enjoy when we're wrong.
And then I can mess with Willie.
I mean, that's always fun. Now, looking at the time, holy shit, we've gone hella long. We've been recording for 1 hour and 42 minutes right now. So
Wait, I can fix this. Hey, Wanda, can you rewind this?
Yeah.
Thank you, baby.
Roll credits, baby.
Roll credits. We are going to roll the credits here in just a sec, but before we do, we're going to power through and do a real quick version of our final segment, a bit called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into so that you may want to go check it out yourselves. Like I said, we're running way over, so we're going to power through and do this pretty quick. I'll kick things off. I've been watching dumb TV. I can't even tell you what all I've been watching. That's what it was. Season 2 of Blown Away on Netflix. This is a show that Cody Goff talked about on the Curiosity podcast, I think a year ago.
Wait, what channel?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Ooh, they can get away with more, especially with that title.
This is not what you think it is. It is a show about glass blowers competing against each other.
Oh, well, I'm not going to watch it
Yeah,
now.
it's actually
not
You could have
Will
lied
was
to me and
thinking.
you would have got another
it's
review.
actually really fun, really delightful. Each season is 10 episodes. I'm on episode 10 of season 2 right now, where basically they have to make different kinds of glass works, and the person who wins gets an exhibit in one of these big glass halls or something like
X
that.
to Z exhibit?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to pimp your ride, Willie. But I've really been enjoying that.
So we put a paint in your paint so you paint while you paint.
Really been enjoying that, watching that on Netflix. And then I also started the Challenger documentary on Netflix, which is fascinating, but at the same time you go, man, how did they screw up some of this stuff? Because the writing was on the wall, which makes me then want to watch some of the Columbia documentaries that are out there, which is all about space shuttles that blew up. And then video game wise, I beat Watch Dogs Legion. That's done, beat that. And then on Game Pass, I started playing The Medium, which is a new game that just came out, which feels kind of Resident Evil-ish, where you're basically a medium who can see the dead, and you can kind of traverse and see back and forth between the world of the dead and the world of the living. And sometimes it depicts rather both worlds on screen at the same time, and it's kind of creepy. But I've been enjoying it so far. Had a lot of fun with that, and that's what I've been getting into. Bachman, how about yourself?
I've been doing a whole bunch of reading. I've actually torn through the first 4 volumes of Bloodshot from the Valiant Universe books on the last relaunch, because they just added a ton of them to the Comixology Unlimited app. So I've been going through Bloodshot. Once I get done with that, I'm going to do the Ninjak ones and then the Exo Manowar, because I basically never read the new launch of the Valiant Universe. So I've actually been enjoying that. Let's see, I was reading that. I finished another show on HBO Max, and now I can't remember what the fuck. I watched all of Warrior. I finished that. Let's see, I finished Warrior. I finished Doom Patrol. There was something else, but then I went on to. I'm now on the second to last episode of Lovecraft Country, and that's just a badass show. The whole Cthulhu mythos and everything, and time travel and shit. There's so much cool shit happening in that show. Oh yeah, lots of time travel.
Damn it!
Playing some DBD, playing some Apex, enjoying the new. All the new anniversary stuff they're doing. Apex is now on their second anniversary. They launched Season 8 and introduced the new character Fuse, who is fucking fun as hell to play and has a great voice actor doing the lines for him. He's hilarious in the game. They did updates to Kings Canyon again, which is awesome because, it's always good to change up a map. And then playing Little Miles the other night, and I got something that I believe is part of one of the last updates, which is cool. I put it up on my Twitter. At Anthony Bachman, where after doing enough missions in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app, I was rewarded with a suit from the citizens of New York, and it's the Black Lives Matter suit, which is fucking cool.
That's cool.
Because when you go and get the package, it's literally a present from the citizens of New York thanking you for being the Spider-Man for Brooklyn and Harlem. And as you open the package, like the camera pulls back, and it's a huge mural of Black Lives Matter painted on the side of the building, and Miles is standing there in a black and yellow suit, which are the Black Lives Matter color scheme. And it's just a great fucking design. But yeah, been enjoying that. And then Lovecraft Country's really good. Looking forward to a little football today. And then WandaVision's been like the weekly one. Oh, and me and the girlfriend have been routinely working on a large Lego project. And I put some pictures on my Instagram last night because as she was playing Dead by Daylight, I was finishing putting the ears on our Yoda. Because, we built one of those nice Legos that's like a fucking 1.5 tall Yoda. And it's been fun as hell because we finally got to the actual character parts of it. Because, doing I think we've been working on it for like 4 weeks. And it's basically just been adding tan pieces to build a robe. Because, you're building this giant body. And it's just tan pieces on tan pieces on tan pieces. And last night, she built the eyes and got to put the eyelids on. And then, I did all the round pieces to make the head and the ears. And so, it'll probably be done today, if not sooner. So, it's just been a really fun Lego build. And, getting ready for Valentine's Day, because I know she's not watching this. I got 2 more Lego kits for us for Valentine's Day because, fuck flowers and candy. I want something we'll keep. So I bought us 2 more Lego kits to build. So, she's going to be pretty happy next Sunday.
Very nice.
That's what I've been into.
Willie, why don't you finish things off for us? What you be getting into?
Never ask him to finish.
I didn't want to tell him to wrap things up. He'd get offended.
I've been doing an anime waifu trading card thing. What else have I been doing? Waiting for Willy's Wonderland, which comes out Friday.
I thought you were in Willy's Wonderland right now.
The movie, not the actual set here. Let me just yeah, buddy.
And he's gone.
You know what? Let's just skip it. I haven't done shit. Oh, I'm kidding. Finished up Doom Patrol the second with my buddy. We were going slowly through the Doom Patrol. I've already finished it, but it was for him. And we also started, yeah, with it because he's never seen it, and he was like, man, why have I been sleeping on this show? The first 2 episodes like really heavy with the like Jesus Christ, just downer after just so dour. But if you pass it through those, then you get to the weird and wild. Yeah, that's when it gets good. The really weird and wild. And then after we finished that, we actually started a new series I recommended to him, and I recommend anybody if you like weird and quirky storylines and stuff like that. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Where's that streaming?
Oh, it's on Hulu.
Okay.
I first saw it on Netflix, but they pulled it off that, and now it's on Hulu.
Yeah, because that was on BBC America, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's problematic because it's Max Landis. So,
all right, say what you will about him. I mean, I'm not agreeing with what he did or what he did. I don't even know if it actually fully came out or whatever. But I mean, he writes good stuff. I like the stuff he writes.
I still love Chronicle.
I cannot take that away from that person. He fucking makes some awesome stuff.
That's fair.
And also does some horrible things, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would only say allegedly because, first of all, it's none of my fucking business. I should know that much about their personal life. And if he did do it, fuck him.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like you've been busy then.
I just make sure I wasn't trying to be like a defender for it. I was not trying to do that at all.
I can track what you're saying.
But
we got you.
We got you, man.
On that note, we appreciate you about
actually, wait, I got one more thing I just want to mention too before you do the credits. I fucking hate Thor. I don't hate Thor. I hate the whole thing of like whoever wields the hammer is Thor. Like I don't like. So was he named after the hammer or the power, or was the power named after him? It's so confusing and dumb.
Power is named after him, and it became a title.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. I hate it. I hate it so much.
But you're not gonna like this next Thor movie, I'm betting then.
Oh, so that wasn't Captain America fighting Thanos in Endgame. No, that was Thor.
Well, he has.
And who's the other dude with the hammer? Oh, that's Thor. Fucking
whosoever holds his hammer,
when Spider-Man
if they be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Webbed up the hammer and was flying with it. He's Thor now too.
Oh, he wasn't wielding the
hammer.
Fucking
everyone's Thor.
He didn't hold the hammer.
He didn't hold it.
I didn't say he held it. I said he webbed it and it was like, whoop,
that's not wielding.
That's not wielding the hammer.
Close enough to being Thor.
No, it's not.
Though Vision was Thor because he did hand it back to Thor.
Oh, Thor?
Yeah, so he was Thor for a minute.
So what you're saying is that Willie shouldn't read Jason Aaron's last 4 years of the Thor comic book.
Yeah. You should stay away from everything in the last almost half decade of the Thor comics because, you're not going to like it.
Where they had the War of the Thors.
Yeah. And also probably don't read the last Secret Wars where there was a Thor army that Doom had.
Yeah.
God, my brain's feeling Thor right now after thinking about it so much.
Now I see why he brought this up, was all to get to that one-liner. Well done, sir.
Oh, no, that just came off the cuff.
Well
I'm
done,
good like
sir.
that.
Well, on that note, we are way, way, way over time. We apologize, but hope you enjoyed our deep dive. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into WandaVision, the future of the MCU, somehow how it relates to Star Wars, and all the other crap that we talked about because we went on a bunch of wild, crazy tangents this week. Don't forget, we do stream this show live every Sunday, live, geeks.live. It's at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And I don't know if I'm forgetting. Is there anything else I'm supposed to tell the people before we get out of here?
Good luck, Patrick Mahomes. I hope you kick Brady's ass.
Old man Brady.
Man Brady.
Don't forget the Puppy Bowls tonight, too.
There's something going on tonight or something?
Yeah, the Puppy
I'm
Bowls.
not going to watch it.
It's a little football game that'll probably have some good commercials today.
Yeah, the commercials will be on YouTube. They might already be on YouTube.
Yeah, they're already there. What are you talking about? They were there last week.
I already said they might already be on YouTube.
Yep, that's not the same.
You just tried to steamroll me.
I told you I'd pick you up and throw you, Chris.
Metaphorically
or literally?
No,
Willie's getting cranky, so we got to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week for another live, new version of the All Things Good Nerdy Show. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.